For those of you that don't, my name's Cara. I'm 35 years old and I am currently in remission from stage 4 bowel cancer, so, which is great news. I was diagnosed coming up to 3 years ago now when I was approaching 32, or I might have been 32. But it took quite a while for me to get to the point where I was actually formally diagnosed, which is something that happens a lot with young people with bowel cancer because it's known as an old man's disease. So I first went to my GP in the March, I think, of 2015. I'd been enjoying life. I'd recently been on a road trip to California with some friends. I'd learned to ski. I'd kind of settled into a routine in London and my career was moving forward. Everything was going swimmingly. But I started to experience a few symptoms that were slightly unusual for me. I had a change in bowel habits and I was getting occasional cramping, and I was very aware that my father had had bowel cancer in his 40s, so I didn't think it would be anything that serious, but I took myself off to the GP and that's where everything kind of started. But it was it felt like a long road to my diagnosis, and I also suffered a lot of grief during that period. My father died in the summer of 2015 as I was going through all the testing, so some of the symptoms that I was experiencing I was putting down to the grief that I was feeling and that loss that I'd experienced. But it was just before the Christmas of 2015 that things took a turn for the worst. I'd been being monitored for my bloods, and I'd been, as usual, to the GP. They'd taken my bloods and I'd trotted off to work for a normal day, and I got a phone call towards the end of the day whilst I was at work saying, "Where are you? You need to come to urgent care now." So obviously my GP was telling me, I'm quite stubborn usually, but I'd kind of seen this before when my dad had been diagnosed, so I went. My bloods at the time, for those of you that have your bloods done regularly, my red blood count was around 5. So they wanted to give me a blood transfusion, and that's when I was referred for more testing to do with the bowel. So I was urgently referred for a colonoscopy, and I got my formal diagnosis in the February of 2016. So it's quite a blow. You don't expect it in your 30s. But at the time when I was diagnosed, I kind of thought that, I'd have some chemo, I'd have an operation, and maybe that would be it. I would get on with life. And I did. I had some fertility treatment. I then went straight into chemo before my surgery. I then had a bowel resection, and I had what my oncologist referred to as mop-up chemo. It was only as I was coming to the end of that I was dealt a further blow. I was told that my cancer had progressed. It was now in both lobes of my liver and I would need further treatment. But I suppose when you think about it, that's all about the medical side. What I've realised going through this and being diagnosed with cancer, that whilst the medicine is a vital part and none of us would get through cancer or be pain-free or as pain-free as we can without modern medicine, there's a lot more that goes on alongside that diagnosis. It affects every part of your life. It affects who you are as a person, your identity, your relationship, your friendships, and it's amazing, not amazing, but it just literally infiltrates into every single thing that you're experiencing. And when I found out that it metastasized, I started to feel that, I needed some support from somewhere. I'm very fortunate. I have great friends and family, and they've been there for me every step of the way. But I started to feel like this was going to be a longer term thing. I needed to just speak to people that knew what I was going through, or that I could get some tips about what I was going through, or how the surgery was going to go when I had it on my liver. Just general everyday things. And that's when I started to search out other people. I dipped my toes in at first because I was scared that if I made friends with people with cancer, that I would make friends that would also die. And it had been really tough for me losing my father, and I didn't know whether I could face that again. So I kind of edged in via Twitter, and I found an amazing bowel cancer community on there, especially of young people. And as I dipped my toes in, I found an incredible amount of love and support and warmth. And the more I spoke to people, the more I kind of engaged with that community and the more benefits that I got out of it. And it was another Shine member who actually pointed me in the direction of this charity. I don't think he's not here tonight. So Sean, he just said to me, oh, you might want to check it out. So I did. I joined the online group on Facebook. And again, I was just sort of dipping my toes and lurking around, kind of getting advice where I needed it, but still being quite afraid to take that plunge and actually make any, what I would see as like real friendships. I carried on with all my treatment. I had more chemo, I had a 2-part liver resection, and a lot of side effects that went along with it. And it was after my surgery that the applications opened for the Shine Escape, and Sean was talking to me, and he'd spoken so well about the experience that he'd had, how much he'd gained from it, that I thought that maybe I should apply, but I was still really hesitant. I didn't know whether it's something that I needed. I kind of thought that I was dealing with everything anyway, so would I actually gain anything from it? But I spoke to people, they encouraged me, and I just thought, what the hell, I'll apply, and I did. And to this day, I think it's one of the best decisions that I could have made. I applied, I got accepted, and it was the first time that I kind of found myself in a room full of young adults with cancer, been through the same thing, were facing the same issues with potentially like fertility or your relationships. We talked really openly and frankly about things, and I actually started for the first time to process the traumas that I'd been through over the last couple of years. And I gained a lot. I can't believe that in those, is it 4 days? 3 days? So good, I can't remember. I gained so much, and for me, one of the biggest benefits or heartwarming things really is that the people that were on my escape with me are still really close friends with me today, and there's a couple over there at the back, I can see their faces. They're like a support group in my back pocket. We're on WhatsApp, and you know, anything that you're going through, if you're going for a scan and you're worried, if something's gone wrong at work, they're just there, and it's incredible what you can gain from other people that are going through the same things as you. And I think that's, as well as sort of the more workshops that Shine do at the conference, the biggest thing for me and the most invaluable thing is that peer network and the support that you gain from them. I'm so glad I made the decision, and even now that I'm kind of trying to move my life forward and cancer will always be there. I was stage 4, I'm very aware of that, but I just know that I can try and reformulate my life. I can go about it, and if I have a wobble, I have people there that will just pick me up and say, you know what, you can do this, and push me on in the right direction again. And for that, I will always be grateful. And that's what we're here raising money for tonight. So dig deep, people, because you'll help other people like you.